Hello everyone, I'm Kibitz and welcome back to Satisfactory, where today we are completing the Starforge, our supermassive nuclear pasta project, which is eating up 28,800 copper ore, which was then processed into 72,000 copper ingots, and then crushed down into 12,000 copper powder. Also, we can make 60 nuclear pasta per minute. And after months, that is the last time I have to make that explanation. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be free! Because we're finishing this today. And what has to be done? Well, we need to balance out the 16 belts of copper powder in a 16 to 16 belt balancer. Set up a new drone port to bring in the pressure conversion cubes and send out the pasta. And then relocate the 48 refineries over here somehow into this building, which will probably take a minute. Good news though, since this project will be complete today, I'll be uploading a new world save to the Patreon. So if you support me over there, world save will be available along with all the blueprints I used to make this monstrosity. Step 1 is to build refineries. Oh boy, our favorite thing to do, am I right? But no, it's not too bad anymore. Ever since we built our Hellspire refinery blueprint, where it's a 3-part system where we have a foundation, then we have the refinery section. That looks really cool, so long as it's put together properly. And the final part is to give it a hat, so we can stack on even more refineries, yippee! And design-wise, we're gonna try and shove these blueprints into this foundation here. I made a new variant of the Hellspire, which is all chrome and blue, to go with our project. And we're just going to have these, again, just either beside the building or inset into the walls. The big goal mostly is just to make this whole foundation here aesthetic, okay? Since we have all the particle accelerators we need built, our only concern is to fly by the rule of cool. That's it. Because no matter what, we will get these refineries in here. It'll be probably fine. Well, no, I was wrong. Refineries got hands. We gotta build 48 of these suckers, and each of these blueprints here only has 4. So this stack has 12, meaning I had to build these things all over the place. We got another 12 over there, another few there, and we still need more. So for the extra refineries, I think we'll just have to put in a couple rows of just these blueprints. If I put any more Hellspire blueprints in here, they're gonna take things over and it'd be a bit much. Plus, we technically have tons of space to work with inside here. Most of this is all just train stations. Yeah, we had plenty of room on the first floor, so I just put a handful of refineries here and we'll call them good. Before we actually get those all hooked together, one other thing I was thinking about was the crude oil. There is a lot of it around here, and although we're not gonna be using it for this project, a bunch of crude oil pipes would look cool over here. And we have all this wall space still to use up, right? So I've made more blueprints. This is a giant fluid buffer tower. Do we need this? Absolutely not. Does it functionally do anything? Well, it stores oil, but do we need to do that? No. Does it look cool? Oh yeah, bud. I love it. It's a pretty simple design. We just have the small frame pillar and some walls clipped inside of the buffer itself. And we have a couple of these standing around. I think they'd look pretty cool. Plus, I got a smaller one as well. And with this foundation here, we could put a couple on the front. But I was also thinking, a couple of these little towers on the side would look pretty cool, right? Just to give the whole build a little more pizzazz. So maybe right there, we could have one. Have a second one right next door. Yeah, that's looking pretty neat. They're almost like smokestacks. And they're a nice detail, but they're not too big of a detail either. One of the big things I'm thinking about with this project is I want the star part to be the main thing people look at. Look at the signs, look at the core. Everything else is supposed to be an accent to that. And yeah, those towers, they work great. Or even better, we could mix the 2 towers together. So we have the taller ones and the smaller ones, big chillin'. Also the smokestacks down here, just add in another little blueprint. So they didn't 100% look like they're clipping. And then there's 3 more towers on the other side. And that is pretty much the main foundation. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's still pretty lame. But I'm hoping once we have the drones and like the 16-to-16 belt balancer inside, all the belts and craziness will really add to the aesthetics. Oh, but you know what we really need around here? Number 1, a control building, but number 2, the underside floor of the particle accelerators. Real talk, I just tried to get the top part done for the YouTube thumbnail of the last video. Past Kibs really should have finished up these arms, but here we are, right? Oh boy. But thankfully, we have the power of editing and I can just show you the final product. So it took me a while to figure this out because there's a lot of variables we have to work around. So this is the top cover blueprint, and inside we have all of the particle accelerators, right? So they'll be sitting about here or so. And to get all of the items inputted into the system, I want to have the belts built on top of this big metal pillar. And the plan is, because it would look cool, we're going to clip these together a little bit, and in doing so, we can have all of the items sent into the machine like so. I guess this would have to be like a ramp then, eh? Not too bad. And then on the other end, we'd have to do the similar ramp thing and have the items go like that. The main thing though, is that because we are working on a metal pillar like this, we can actually just squeeze 2 belts side by side. So we'll have all of the copper powder and all the pressure conversion cubes overflowing through this line, and the belt work should work out. As for the output though, that's gonna be a little bit of a different story, won't it? I'm thinking we'll have another conveyor lift, bring the items up over to here, and then going through this little loop where we gather everything up onto a drone and send her out. But this seems to be a good plan in my opinion. So we are going to rock and roll with it and hope not to panic. There's a lot of weird angles and stuff with this build, and a lot of stuff could end up being pretty wacky, like these walls here. So as you've probably noticed, for a lot of this project, I am just running forward blind, and if things mess up, we'll just come back to it. Ah yes, and then underneath I want to add a little bit more detail. So we have nice little sign and kind of like these weird, I don't know, claws? Sure, we'll call them claws, just to add in a little bit more pizzazz. If all the undersides were like super flat, I don't know, it'd be kind of strange. I think this will look pretty good though. You know what, yeah, I think that is okay. And then we are just going to blueprint it. Oh my gosh, yes. Sometimes with blueprints, they don't like to connect super well. Cough, cough, hellspires. It looks like these ones do, so we are chillin'. Now we just have to set up hundreds of them across all of the arms of the Starforge. But oh my gosh, that is so cool. Oh my, I was super worried about this. This really brings it all together. This, and we're gonna need some pillars underneath these arms of the factory as well at some point. That is a future Kibs problem though. For now, just want to bask in this accomplishment. That is it. All right, Kibs, boop in the rest. Magnificent, magnificent. I love this. Oh, I am so happy we nailed that. Oh my gosh. The stress with this build, guys have no idea. I'm putting a lot of the creative juices into this, and there's been many variations. And pressure I've been putting on myself to make this as best as it can be. And this is it. We have cooked. Okay, that's great. That is the main thing. Now back to the foundation little pedestal thing. This still needs a ton of work. We need a control building, and we need to get all of the belt work done somehow. Control building wise, I do have a really, really good idea. We're actually going to yoink and modify something we built before. Over through the cliffs here, we have one of our many copper powder processing facilities. And inside this one, we have this cool little control building where we're actually processing the copper powder. And I did this really fun thing with these windows that go out like half a tile. So it gives this building a little bit of depth. And I like this a lot. I think we're going to steal at least the concept and bring it over to the Starforge, because I really like this idea. And the only problem with at least this build is I didn't think of the depth issues as much as I should have. And with the new build, we could have the window there, and then we could have like a drone port next door to it, and that would look so cool, right? right? Okay, starting with something here, and it's something. Okay, but real talk, I don't think this is it, Chief. In fact, I don't think any of this is it, Chief. Like, even with all the belts we're gonna have running all over the place, like, what am I gonna do with walls like this? And there's also the sloped walls in the corners here. Like, I can't have belts running out in a boot. Just won't work. In fact, you know what? I think we're just gonna redo everything. Yep, a little rough to throw away hours and hours and hours of work, but it needed to be done. Especially after we built this like underside blueprint here. Like this looks so cool. The base can't be anything less than perfect. And also it's kind of on me. The whole sloped pyramid-y thing that we're going for, that was all just like a temporary design for the last video to wrap things up. I should have deleted it in the beginning. So here we are, back at square one. And this time I'm just gonna let my brain kind of cook on ideas for a minute. Instead, we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna figure out the interior bit here. We want to have a portal here for sure, because it'd make a great centerpiece, A, and B, I don't wanna have to go over to our project house, which is like way over that way somewhere, to teleport here every so often. And also I find when I'm stuck on one part of a project, it's best for me to just switch gears to something entirely different, so then my brain can kind of cook up some other ideas for what I was stuck on. Anyway, we'll have the portal right in the middle there, and then we have an elevator here that just goes a little bit down this way. Now, with this elevator, the only purpose of it really is to bring up the power to this next floor, because we need to bring power up to all the particle accelerators. Now, luckily, last time we set up all the power nubs. I just brought them across this beam here, and they kind of scoot all the way down the line. So these are all powered, and we're chilling. With that elevator, that can power the portal as well, and we should be good to go there too. Now let's just make it look cool. Step one, couple stairs. Yes, please. Step two, cool central platform. Yeah, that do be the plan. It's always been the plan. In case you missed the last episode, I've designed this entire build so we could look down these rows of particle accelerators and see them all going flashy and all the electricity zapping and stuff like that from a central location. And it would look really neat. So having a central platform is mission critical. And I don't think we'll do anything too complicated with it. We'll have one layer up here so we can run around and see all the particle accelerators. Then we'll go down a floor so we can actually go into the elevator if we so choose to. Honestly, we probably never will, but I want the option to be there for like realism, I guess. Also, later on, we can do some stuff with beams, just like we did with the particle accelerators to hide all of the gobblers. So a cable can go from here to the other side of these platforms, probably up to this portal here, just down to there, and then this top platform will be free as a viewing deck without any power cables or anything blocking our view. That should be pretty straightforward. All right, we are so back. Bit of a detour with the exterior, but with the interior now like this, yeah, I am picking up what I am putting down. Portal, centered. I'm thinking I'm gonna turn that light on at some point, just shining down on the golden centerpiece. Yeah, pretty freaking awesome. Did some wild stuff with some beams and pillars down in the corners, and it's all functional, looking sweet and ready to go. Another huge thing I didn't even consider was once I had this variable figured out, well then I could work from it on the next part. And that is kind of the start of the foundation, what we're working on before. Because I was kind of flying blind with the whole pyramid-y thing. But now, since I know how the portal's gonna look and how that room's gonna look, I was able to build this structure. Now, is this gonna be the end-all be-all structure? Don't know, but it looks pretty good. I like how we ended up having the arm blueprints kind of transition into the walls here. Looks really smooth, looks really good, and I was really afraid of how that would work out. Again, since we're messing with so many weird shapes, it is very difficult to mix that into a normal grid that's workable. So I think we did a pretty good job here. And way more important than that is it gives us anything to work off of for the rest of the foundation. Kind of like for the particle accelerator underside here. There's just so many variables that I was just stun locked almost. But now with this, we can work off of it and build an even more cool design. Hopefully, maybe, probably. But before we do that, there is one more mission critical variable we gotta figure out that will kind of tie the entire build together. And it is the supports for all of these arms of the Starforge. They cannot be left floating like this. It just doesn't make any sense, and they look kind of weird that way. So we're gonna have to figure that out. And to be blunt, there is no easy way about this. It's just gonna take hours of trial and error. Main reason is because I just know that a straight up and down pillar would never work. Like, I tried to attempt one here, but like, it's not space agey enough. This is a Starforge. We're making 60 nuclear pasta per minute. A little up and down, rinkety dink little support like that just doesn't fit in. No, we gotta do something a little funky. Oh yeah, I went with the funky design, but whoa, buddy, did it work out? Kind of was a little easier than I thought as well. Since we couldn't go straight up and down, the only other option really was a weird kind of angle support. This is it. So this goes right into the foundation there. Got a little bit of like a triangle support where it meets the actual floor. And it goes down on an angle into kind of this footprint, and that's the whole thing. Repeat that a dozen times, or at least 8 times. And now we have our supports in. The only problem was this one little train was clipping a little too much, so we have some weirdness going on there, but it's totally okay. These supports just bring the whole build together. This is like night and day. I absolutely love them. I cannot believe how much these supports improved the build. Like, they seriously brought the whole thing together. I am so freaking happy with them. Like, you really know when you've nailed something, when you couldn't imagine the build done any other way. Like, these supports, they're it. Also builds up a lot more pressure for me to get the foundation part done right. And even after doing all this work, I haven't really figured that part out yet. But good news, there is always more work to do on this project. I think I mentioned it last time, but there's nothing that really is that difficult except for coming up with the ideas, but everything takes a lot of time. And one thing I have to tackle at some point is the actual belt work. Like, we do have a plan, but we have to do every single row individually here. And we can't really input a blueprint, unfortunately. There are too many other blueprints that work, so if we try to do some belting blueprint, it would go absolutely haywire. So the deal is, we're just gonna have to go one at a time here. Have to deal with a little bit of clipping, has to be done, and deal with all of the belt work. And high key, I am all for it. I'm using so much of my creative juices on this project that I don't mind some tedious stuff for a couple hours. And also, this got me kind of hyped up. The design for the belt work is really, really, really cool when all is said and done. So I mentioned earlier that we're gonna have all of the pasta scooting through the little loop here, and that's what it'll do until it gets back to the center. However though, each of these rows has 10 overclocked particle accelerators, right? So that is going to be 1,500 copper powder. So we're gonna have to have 2 belts of 750 copper powder entering each row. One belt of the copper powder is going in through here, and then another is going in through here, this one. We're gonna have the pressure conversion cubes on one of these belts, powder on the other, and then powder on this one. Powder will go through 5 of the machines, and then once we go through the 5, the next belt will enter the system and overflow through the last 5, finishing things up. And again, all the nuclear pasta scoots on down the exit row through the mini loops. And it should look awesome. Again, all of the particle effects that are gonna be going on. We're gonna see all the powder moving and grooving, a little bit of pasta here and there. Like, whoa, buddy, it's gonna be great. It would have been a lot nicer if I could have used blueprints in this as well. But again, just too much stuff going on. So I'm gonna have to manually set up those belts again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And then figure out what the heck is going on downstairs to actually input all the items. But that is for way later, because right now it's mindless belt work time. Yippee! And that ironically is just such a nice change of pace. Just started a Twitch live stream, yapped with chat, and got all of this stuff done. Now, will there be problems with the belt work? Absolutely, but we'll find out about them later. Because with this all done, I finally gave my brain a little bit of a rest, and I figured out a really, really cool idea for the exterior now. And one of the design principles for the exterior foundations here is I don't want it to overshadow all of the arms of the Starforge, right? So I realized we're gonna need some kind of building. And because we are working with kind of a rectangle that has a bit of a centerpiece, I was thinking we could do something of a yin and yang thing, where we would have a building that goes this way, and then another building that goes that way. And then all in between, we'll have all of our belts going all over the place, entering the center to be sent into the particle accelerators, have like a drone port like here. This, I guess, could be like the front, be like set up as a control room. And actually, if that's a control room, then we could hide like our 16 to 16 belt balancer in this building. Oh my gosh. And then yeah. Everything can run over to the control room, then run into the core, and then we're cooking with gas. Okay, yes, I understand that sounded a little insane, but I am kind of going insane. I've been working on this project for like, it was 30 hours to the last one, and this episode is gonna be like 40, so. Look, I'm at the end of my rope, and I'm excited to get this done. After spending so many hours on different design ideas, I'm really happy that we're about to be cooking with a good one. I can feel it in my bones. And speaking of cooking, we're going back to a Kibitz classic. We're building some grills. We'll have the grills set up like this. We'll paint them Vanta black, throw some glass in between, and then this will go back this way so we can start that yin and yang kind of building design. Oh my gosh, and wait a second, maybe we could have like the other building be all like Arctic white? Oh, then it would actually be a yin and yang kind of thing? No, actually no, we can't do that. It's a cool idea for sure. Maybe we could do that with a different build. But if we had white concrete underneath this part of the Starforge, the white concrete would stand out too much. Anyway though, no, this will be our control building. We'll bring all the 16 balanced belts through here. Yeah, at some point, all the belts will turn, and then they'll enter into the core of the build here. And this is where all of the inputs are for the particle accelerators. Yes, dude, yes! Oh my goodness, it's happening. We are playing the video game. I'm actually so excited. This is it. And then up front here, this is where we'll have all the 16 balanced belts enter. We'll go through here. We might do some throughput monitors. I'm not 100% sure. But these will be the main copper powder belts. And at this point, we'll have a walkway skeeting down there. We just need a little bit of space to the right, which we should have. Not 100% sure what we'll do with the walls, but let's pretend we'll just have a black wall on the side. But yeah, we'll have enough space here that we can have a belt going this way. That'll be the inputs, maybe, for the pressure conversion cubes. So A, B, and then really close by, we'll have the output belt. So we'll have the nuclear pasta scooting from C to D. So all the copper powder on the left, the pressure conversion cubes and pasta on the right, walkway in the center. We'll have our control switch in here. I can see the vision. The only little hiccup, I suppose, is our portal is already set up in the middle of the build over here. But like real talk, if we're ever coming back to the Starforge, I probably just want to get a good look at all of the nuclear pasta scooting around here. So I guess it doesn't matter too much. Or it gives me an excuse to use the elevator that's built underneath here. Wait, I guess that elevator would be pointing this way, right? Oh, how's that gonna work? There's already belts in the way. Do I move the belts? No, if I move the belts, I'll actually lose my mind. We can still go a layer lower though, right? Oh, that's a little rough, eh? Maybe? Like we could have this going this way to a door that goes to the control building, and then this has to be raised up a bit. Okay. Figuring out some variables here, but yeah, we could have the walkway there, enter into here, go from the portal, check the main numbers on some conveyor throughput monitors. And okay, it's not too bad. But again, the big thing is, I see it now. I see it all. This is the design that's gonna look so good It blends together. It's not too much, but it's still kind of cool. This is actually it. Did some neat little stuff with the walls on the sides here. 16 belts just go through the conveyor wall holes. And then inside, all of them kind of turn over this way. We've got the throughput monitors. And we have the main wall over here. So this will show the paste going out. Since it's the main belt, we just need this to be 60 per minute. And the top is the pressure conversion cubes going in. And then all the stats that we know and love. Oh my gosh, been repeating them for like the last month or 2, 3, I don't know. I've gone crazy. Oh, wait, no. Save the last bit of sanity for the raid boss, Mr. Kibitz. The 16 to 16 belt balancer. It's time for round 2. So we have 16 belts of copper powder entering this facility. Everything's being transported in via trains from all over the world. And the throughput of the trains is all different. Some trains are bringing in like 750 per minute. Some it's like thousands per minute. Some it's like 300 per minute. I don't really know. Plus, since the trains are coming from all over the world, some trains take a lot longer than others. And because of all that weird variance, we need the 16 to 16 balancer to make sure that each of the belts ends up being what it has to be, which is 750 items per minute. Good news is, last time we built the core of this blueprint, which is a nice 4 to 4 balancer. So we have one of these, and we'll have the 4 belts enter into it. Then we just have to build this 4 times, just off next to each other. And all 16 belts have to enter into this. But then from there, the belts have to go into another set of balancers to make sure everything works out properly. The key is that from the balancers here, each of these belts needs to go from one blueprint to a different blueprint. So example with this one here, it'll go to that blueprint, then it will go to this blueprint, then it will go to the one up here, and finally over there, if it would actually work. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Just in the middle here, it's gonna get very, very complicated and very, very busy, but it'll be okay. The real work for making this balancer was last time when we put together the 4 to 4 balancer. This was a little complicated. And then building wise, we're doing that yin and yang thing. So we'll have the front grille just about here, leaving some space to the right just in case we have to do some belts going up and through the floors again. Not really sure if we'll need to, but I like leaving myself some options. And then will this be a wide enough building for the balancers? Yes, it will. Okay, cool. And yes, it looks absolutely deranged and crazy. But again, it's not too complicated. Surprisingly, there's a lot of space in between both the blueprints, so this wasn't too bad. In fact, it looks even better than the last time we did it because I squished it a little bit. Now there's belts out the wazoo. It's looking really neat because everything can go through like the grills of the building. And then I just have them going over top of the train track into the control room over there. Cool, eh? Pretty happy with it. Hope you guys are as well. If you are, leave a like. Wow. And again, all the blueprints are gonna be available on Patreon, so you can download the 4 to 4s and everything else I've been working on. Wait. Oh my gosh. I forgot about something. When I was building all of this, I saw that one of these belts was empty. Why is this belt empty? Because this is supposed to be localized production. Remember when we were setting up all of the hell spires around this place with the initial design? Well, those refineries are gone, but they need to be replaced. I need to build 48 refineries on this platform somehow. Oh, but it's looking so cool down there. I think we can make it work. I kept some of the refineries just on the first layer. We can definitely put a couple more refineries back here. And then I think we'll have to get a little creative. So I made a new refinery trunk here with 4 of the refineries built into one blueprint. And we're going to inset this into the platform itself. So downstairs, we have a train track, but the trains are only 2 tiles tall. So we can move this down even further. And then we can use up a little bit more of this space for refineries. The thing is, I just don't want the refineries being taller than the buildings. I think that would ruin the aesthetics quite a bit. This though, this could happen. In fact, I think that would look really, really cool. It'll do something with the side here because we just have this big building there, right? And if we had a window on this wall, it'd be kind of hard to tell what the heck is going on inside. So having refineries just encased into the side of the platform would look a lot better. And I can design this a lot better too. And then again, we can fit a couple more refineries just stacked on top of these belts here. Maybe we could lower the belts, I'm not sure. And in any world, I'll have to try and fit in as many as I can downstairs here, because 48 refineries takes up a heck of a lot of space, bud. And with our cool building designs, we've kind of used a lot of it. Whoops. And oh my gosh, this was nothing short of a miracle, but I did it. Somehow, some way, I managed to fit in the 48 refineries into this foundation. And thankfully, I'm not a betting man because I would have bet this would not have worked. Not in a million years. Fortunately, some compromises had to be made where we do have some smokestacks taller than the building. But all things considered, it looks freaking awesome. Did some detailing, got the roof on the balancer. Things look great from the front here. And we even included some of our old work. These little towers here, just to fill in some space. And handle the oil. But no, for real, it's gorgeous. I love it. And for whatever space is remaining, we're gonna have all of the oil pipes scooting around, so there'll be a bit of a detail. We'll probably have a few running through here. Then we wanna bring them underneath the train track because we'll bring the crude probably off to the rocky desert. Then the rest of the area, we'll just have some more blueprints, some more paths, power lines, etc., and it will look awesome. Also, really, really cool thing I learned while building all this is it's a really good idea to have a power pole underneath a blueprint maker, because I would like to use my hover pack when making my blueprints, of course, right? Well, if the power pole is right underneath, it kind of works out really, really well and looks aesthetically pleasing. Would recommend. But I digress. There's still one little itty bitty problem that I have with this build, and that is the wide entrance we got going on here. We have a train track that's turning, right? So we need to keep this wall open or else it'll be clipping. But it's just so wide. And I was thinking of just redoing all the train tracks, but I got a better idea. We're gonna bring this platform out a little bit because we still need to include the drone, right? And if we build this platform out a little bit, this 3 tiles is the exact amount of space for a drone port. It was all meant to be. So the design will still probably look a little funky, sure. But if we have this here, raise it up a little, scoot that back into the wall, that will look pretty dang nifty, eh? Yeah. And maybe we can move this support somewhere else. We could add in some scaffolding underneath here. But then we'll have our control room and our main drone right there. And in a dream world, we're gonna look up from here and see that the sky is clear. Beautiful. There was a terrible world where the drone port was built underneath one of these arms, but we are good. The design is working swell. And bada bing, bada boop, the designs are in. I can't believe it. It's been so long. It's been so many weeks. But it is all good. Look at all the refineries. Looking schnaz. We got pipes everywhere. We got details. We have production, we have powder, we have our control room all set up, looking pretty. And the last thing we need to do is just make this whole factory actually work. So we gotta bring those 16 belts inside of here and hook them up to the labeled areas. Check this out though. Add in some neat lights on the floors, cool little pathway in, and look at all the room we have for belt work. So even when it does get a little crazy, I think it'll be okay. And what's even better is what's underneath floor number 1. Oh, a ton of free space for more belt work. That's right, we're gonna be chilling. All we need to do is set up a conveyor wall hole, bring in the belt, and then send it up through a floor hole, like so. Just go from A to B. I think we're gonna actually use Mark V belts for this. Each of these belts needs to be 750 copper powder per minute, right? So it just makes sense for me. Also, you know what? That's probably a good idea, because then if I see a Mark 5 belt, I know it's balanced. If I see a Mark 6 belt, I know it's unbalanced. That is a really good idea, Kibitz. Thank you, Kibitz. Anyway, we'll bring the 750 belt of copper powder up here. Make sure we're not just clipping into a doodad or whatnot. Then we'll go from there to each input, and that is done skis. So like with the rest of this project, it looks rough, but it's really not too bad. It'll just take a little bit of time. And whenever I say a little bit of time, you know that's just Kib speak for a couple hours. But it worked out. It wasn't hard, it wasn't difficult, didn't have to move too much around. And we had so much space and all of the labeling from past Kibs, thank you past Kibs, that it all is done skis. Look at it all go. So much belt work, so much madness. I'm not crazy, you're crazy. Oh my goodness. This actually, again, it wasn't too bad. All of the copper powder was done just on the ground level here. And then I moved up a layer to deal with the pressure conversion cubes, and then up another layer to deal with all of the pasta once it's done. That all merges together, goes through the floor like everything else, and down it goes to the drone, eventually.tm. Oh, you know what actually was crazy and difficult? Upstairs, I wanted to include a light in the ceiling. And that light was in this clipped together monstrosity core. So getting a power cable up to this was a nightmare. Do not ask how I did it, or I will send 3D Kibs after you, and he is scary. But once I did that, everything was perfect. Filled in a few little last details, some cool light pillars. It brought it all together. It's gorgeous. I love it. This is one of my favorite builds of all time. And I cannot wait to see it running. There's only one last thing to do. We need to make the end caps for each of the sides of the star. It's one of those other things that I have been really holding off on because it's going to be very creatively difficult. Like there's a lot to think about when we get to the end of the line here. Because we don't want like background noise to interrupt our view of the particle accelerators. But also, it has to match with our existing design, which is this wacky like half hexagon, half whatever down here. So the shape, difficult to say the least. And then lastly, it needs to blend in. It can't be like a focal point. It just needs to work with the rest of the structure. And at this point, there's nothing else to do. The designs are in, this is ready to go. We just have to brute force the creative vision. The thing I found with like creative designs though, is if I don't have an idea immediately and I have to brute force it, I just have to go through like a million different iterations. It does take a heck of a lot more time, but eventually I do figure out something. Because with every iteration, I figure out what I like and I don't like. And even at some points, I just completely delete what I had before. And sometimes that doesn't even work, and like with our factory earlier, I just wipe the slate, and it is what it is. At least with this project, I went through a variety of iterations, and I found one I liked. And after seeing all the other examples, you're probably like, Kibitz, is this really the one you're after? I think a few of the others looked better, no? And it's kind of weird, but yes, this one is the one I'm going with. One thing is, it has a platform that's built inside, so we can have some platforms built off of it, going past all the particle accelerators. Another thing is though, is that with a lot of other designs, I tried to make the centerpiece here like stand out as like a really cool kind of aesthetic piece. But in reality, when I added this onto all of the different ends of the star, I feel like it just blended in a lot better. It didn't take away from the pizzazz of the rest of the build. It's just a nice addition to what we already got going. And really the big takeaway is like the nice blue lines that really accent the entire build. And then from up above, everything still looks great as well. The thing that really did it is just having like the blue signs kind of curve the corners here. So it looks like this is like latched on. And another thing I did kind of consider was having another sign just on the sides, but there's a point at which it becomes like a little too much. And also, again, we're working with such a weird shape here that it's so hard to make anything work, really. And yeah, that's just a bit much. No, we're sticking with what we got. And again, with the catwalk, we're able to bring that inside. And there's just enough room on the left and the right to have that go through. And it clips a little bit with the particle accelerators, but it doesn't clip with the animated bits. Like these tubes here, they do all the swirly whirly craziness. And I don't really mind if the platform kind of cuts through little bits here and there. The only thing was I couldn't bring this walkway to the centerpiece, so they kind of just end up stopping. Well, that's okay. It gives us some place to land and check on different machines when we want to, just in case something goes wrong. And my oh my, would you look at the time? It's time to figure out if things will go wrong, because everything is done. We are ready to start the forge. I've set up the drone just out front here, and it is bringing in the pressure conversion cubes, and it will take out the pasta. It's all good. We got 2 of them set up. The throughput's fine. It's 60 items per minute, so no issues there. So all I got to do is connect this belt up somewhere, and the whole party gets started. I think I brought this all to a bin for now. Yes, there's an input and output buffer bin, just in case. It's always good to have. And that is it. That will start up the entire system. All of these items will overflow through all the different rows, up through this belt here. And over the next like 10 or so minutes, we'll start to see the particle accelerators come to life and finally make our pasta. All right, our friends are joining the fray. Let's actually upgrade a couple belts here just to let things rock and roll a little bit faster. Again, things just split up and overflow, and I hear them. Which one started? Who did it? Am I going crazy? Has it finally happened? Oh, you're going. Holy smokes, 2,563.7 megawatts times 80? That's a lot of power. Good thing we made such a massive nuclear power plant, but holy smokes. This is probably gonna be, no, this will be the most power intensive production line in our entire world. Like it's all of these plus 768 fully overclocked refineries to make all the copper powder. Oh my gosh, and not to mention the pressure conversion cube stuff. We don't even need to talk about that, okay? That's a lot. Ooh, look at our loops go. Look at all the shiny colors. The electricity, it's gorgeous. We're gonna see any pasta anytime soon. 73%, why does it take more than 5 seconds to make extremely dense degenerate matter? Ridiculous. But wait, also complete? Oh my gosh. After so many months, the pasta is ready. Holy smokes. It's dinner time. Oh my gosh. It's over. Kind of. There's probably a variety of like belt issues working their way through here, but that's okay. Kind of expected, in fact. I'll find them in time. The thing is, we unironically have millions of copper powder stored throughout the world and thousands of pressure conversion cubes. So it's probably gonna take like 10, 20 hours to really work through the backlog of supply. So in the meantime, we are absolutely gonna see 60 pasta per minute. Eventually, once everything overflows anyway. So in the meantime, few little finishing up things to do. Just gonna get rid of all the signs down here because it's all hooked up. We're all good. Then out in the boot, there's a little bit of detailing work that I'd like to finish up so we can wrap this project up forever. Beyond that, we also have to scoot over this way and destroy our old setup. Because initially, we're actually gonna make all of the nuclear pasta over there in like a giant like archipelago of particle accelerators, but obviously that plan changed, so this all gotta go. And yeah, good example here, but just in the storage bins over in the old system, it's already 200,000, 300,000 copper powder. Yeah, we grinded a lot of this stuff down. Holy smokes. Oh, by the way, just a quick mass dismantle tip. If you ever wanted to move like literally 1 million items at once, what you can do is you can highlight all of them, right? And then, since not all the items can fit in your inventory, wherever you end up actually dismantling those things, like right over here, you get in a box, or the player crate has infinite capacity. So we now got all the million items right next door to our awesome sink. Isn't that convenient, right? In fact, Where are we at on coupons? 2,219. All right. We'll see where we end up once we clean up all this stuff. And while I'm doing so, we'll let the pasta do its thing and check on the numbers in a little bit. Wow, that took a couple minutes to clean up, but it's gone. All of the old starter stuff, deleted, dismantled. Factory's been running this whole time, and I think things are going fine. Don't know why that belt stopped. Where are we at coupon-wise? Got a couple more. Got like almost 30, 40 more. Not too bad. 37 million standard points per minute. Very cool. And that is because I've been sending all of the pasta, at least for now, into the awesome sink. Just so we could test a bunch of the numbers. Looking inside, again, since we have so much stuff backlogged, everything is looking great. 60 nuclear pasta per minute for the foreseeable future. And then input-wise, we just have a ton of these pressure conversion cubes stored, so they are just backed up out the wazoo. It's so cool, though. I can't believe it's all running. Let's take another quick look upstairs here. Just at all the particle accelerators doing their thing. And this is exactly what I was after. It's just so crazy. It's just so neat. I love it. All the pasta down there as well. It's so wild. Just everywhere you look. Then we have the beautiful centerpiece as well. Yeah, this project took about 100 hours, but you know what? It was all worth it. This is truly a fitting factory for our first completed Phase 5 space elevator part. And we'll send it upstairs eventually. Oh, I got plans for the pasta that we will deal with soon. But first, I know you want to know the power situation. We are running 80 overclocked particle accelerators. Plus, because this is all running, all of the refineries are scooting as well. So, power situation is probably looking a little spooky. And out of our 962,000 megawatts of production, we're using about 400,000. Again, the particle accelerators, they have variable power, right? So on the high end, it's about 410,000 I've seen. Low end, 380,000 megawatts. And this number will probably go quite a bit higher, yeah. Like up to 420,000 megawatts at some point. Once our stockpiles start to run though, but again, that's gonna be in many, many, many hours. And at least for now, the pasta is complete. And after long last, I'm free to work on something else. All things considered though, this project was pretty awesome. Learned a lot, and we got a lot of the infrastructure set up. So quite the experience. However though, that is gonna be all for now. So if you enjoyed, remember to leave a like and subscribe for more. And if you wanna check out the world for yourself, an updated world save is available on Patreon, along with all my other blueprints. But again, that's all. So I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.